Hello. For better or worse or rich or poor, the price of corn, meaning the selling price of a bushel of corn, directly affects the economy in Iowa. For decades of stagnant corn prices coupled with rising production costs turned once thriving communities into near ghost towns. As a result of a public's ever-increasing demand for fuel, coupled with an ever-shrinking supply of fuel, the nation turned to ethanol for the answer. To fully understand the impact that ethanol has made on the Iowa economy, we need to first take a look at Iowa's pre-ethanol economy. Secondly, we should consider just who it is that is being affected. What effect did ethanol have on the price of corn? How did this price change affect the economy? And what happens to Iowa if ethanol is no longer needed? So, just what was the economy in Iowa like before ethanol? Well, as you can see here, for 70 years corn prices remained stagnant, peaking at around $3.40 a bushel. When farmers have little money, they can't afford to replace machinery. This can lead to layoffs in manufacturing. Workers in the manufacturing of farm machinery, when they're forced to seek work elsewhere, when people leave communities, schools close, business close, and the community goes into decline. The same time saw increased costs involving with growing a crop. The result was a mass exodus of workers and young people who saw no future in Iowa. The smaller towns, they were hit the hardest. With schools closing and businesses leaving, there was no incentive to stay in a ghost town. These small towns, they were inhabited by people who may not have been farmers, but were part of a community that revolved around farming. As farmers spend money, it gets spread out to the community. Schools, health industries, and entertainment are all affected by the price of corn. When you think about it, the jobs that are directly related to farming, like manufacturing of farm implements, or jobs in the farm service-related industries, like a hired man on a farm, or guys that work at the elevators, they're pretty much tied directly to it, but other people in the community are too. The school teachers who are teaching the farm children, hospital workers who provide medical care for the workers, the stores where the farmers shop and the workers shop, and restaurants they're all affected by this price of corn. These farming communities needed for corn prices to rise. Something was needed, and ethanol was the answer. As you can see here, 40% of Iowa corn goes to ethanol, and a bushel of corn makes 2.8 gallons of ethanol. So you can see the impact that this would make to corn prices once ethanol became about. Because of environmental concerns and America's growing dependence on foreign oil, the federal government mandated that gasoline be blended with a 10% mixture of ethanol. The demand for ethanol sent corn prices skyrocketing, as you can imagine, and by the mid-2000s, prices had climbed to around $6 a bushel and as high as $6.40. Land prices followed suit, jumping from $1,500 an acre pre-ethanol to as high as $9,500 today. Farm machinery began to be replaced, creating manufacturing jobs. Manufacturers provided health benefits, creating jobs in the health industry, and hospitals expanded. As you can see from here, this is an expansion of the hospital in Spirit Lake. It was a small hospital for years. This is what the effect of ethanol created from that. With the jobs now in Iowa, parents could afford to send their children to college. Attendance in community colleges and universities were up, creating even more jobs. And all these people working all these jobs spent money in local communities, restaurants, and stores opened. As Iowa became busy constructing this economy, they never looked back. As you can see, 80,000 jobs were created in Iowa because of ethanol. Those are just the jobs directly related to the production of ethanol. Once the ethanol was produced and the demand was high, like I said before, farmers spent the money and the people in the community got the money and they spent more money. So on average, they say that ethanol created 494,000 jobs in Iowa. So due to the stagnated corn prices and increasing production costs, the life was being drained from these small towns. And ethanol came onto the scene and restored these communities. But looking into the future, for small towns to survive, they need ethanol not to be the kind of bubble that caused the housing bubble that caused the recession in 2008. They need ethanol to stick around. They need ethanol to be here for the future.